Welcome back to Drinks Coach. It's me, Joe Wadsack. Midweek special. Sunday's somewhere back there. Saturday's over there somewhere. Everyone's in some vague, kind of no idea what's going on situation at the moment with the lockdown and all that. Oh, do you like the shirt, by the way? Pretty much inspired by watching reruns of all of Death in Paradise from beginning to end. Drinks Coach UK. Lowercase, if you want to ask me any questions, if you want to tell us what you want to see on future episodes, by all means. Today I'm devoting the show to Crémant from France. When English sparkling wine became a thing, I remember thinking, God, 28 quid, well, that's a bit punchy for somebody who's made their first wine ever. I mean, champagne was that sort of money when they started, and, it took them 200 years to get to 28 quid. And I was thinking, why are they doing that? And they said, well, because they're saying, look, our wines are at least as good, or certainly competing with champagne, which is definitely not a lie. But I never thought of champagne as the only competition. If you look in France, you've got Crémant d'Alsace in the Alsatian area in the northeast. They make now pretty good sparkling wines. One or two people do anyway. You've got Crémant de Bourgogne in Burgundy, which is only a half an hour's drive south of Champagne anyway, making sparkling wine. You've got Crémant de Loire, a personal favourite of mine because the wine's just a bit tighter and a bit fresher. You've got Crémant de Bordeaux, and you've got Crémant de Limoux in the south. I mean, they're everywhere. Every region seems to have its own take on how to make sparkling wine, and they've been doing it long enough that most of them do a pretty damn good job of it too. So I thought I'd take you through three that I happen to have in the flat, and I'll mention the other ones on the side. We're going to start off with the Crémant de Bordeaux, the most famous one, in fact, that they make. This was the sort of like ground zero for sparkling wine in Bordeaux. People say, well, how long have they been making sparkling wine in Bordeaux? Well, about 130 years, which will surprise a lot of you. About as long as Cava's been around, really. And which is Spanish, just so you know. We've also got a Crémant de Bourgogne. This is a perennial favourite of mine. It's an absolute cracker. Every supermarket seems to have an own label Crémant de Bourgogne, or Crémant from Burgundy. Waitrose does quite a good one. I think Sainsbury's is pretty good. But this is the one that I always go to, and it's from Marks and Spencer. Then at the end of the line here, we've got a very special Crémant de Loire, which I'll come on to at the end. So let's start off with some bubs. Les Cordeliers, Crémant de Bordeaux, exclusive. This is made 100% from one grape variety, and that is Sémillon. Sémillon is one of the two premium, most important white varieties in Bordeaux. You've got Sauvignon Blanc and Sémillon, and more often than not, they're blended together. But Sauvignon has quite herbaceous character, so it wouldn't really be suited to age-worthy sparkling wine, not if they're picked as early as you need to in order to retain acidity. So they pick Sémillon very early, and they make this 100% out of that variety. And Sémillon, on one side, makes a nice, light, fluffy sparkling because it doesn't have thick skins. So when you're making the wine, it doesn't have a lot of fruit oil. It's not heavy weight. It doesn't feel thick in the mouth. It's light and fluffy. But at the same time, Sémillon is not like Riesling or Sauvignon Blanc insofar as it's not sharp and linear, like almost like you cut your tongue on it. It's got a soft, cuddly roundness about it. So let's see what we've got here. Ooh. It's got classic smell of mature Sémillon. There's a smell of toasted brioche, like butter bread, or maybe a really nice bit of sourdough with some nice fresh farmhouse butter on it, maybe a little bit of lemon curd or something. Those sort of warm, cuddly smells. Cordeliers, why Cordeliers? Well, the Cordeliers were Franciscan monks who were called Cordeliers because they had a cord around their waist, which meant the cord wearers around their tunics. And I don't know, they're called tunics, are they? Back in the 14th century, mid-1300s, they applied to the Pope to build a monastery in the walls of Saint-Emilion, the jewel of Bordeaux, most incredibly beautiful place. And it was granted, but they weren't making sparkling wine that far back, obviously. They only started at the turn of the last century. But very, very, very famous. It's a monastery, and it's probably the only winery I can think of that's actually made inside a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's rather special. Anyway, so very pleasant, not super complex, but stylish, definitely, and lots of flavour. And would go really well with things like gratins and melted cheesy things. Nom, nom, nom. Okay. So that would retail, I think, probably somewhere between £15 and £20 normally. There are cheaper ones and there are more expensive ones in Bordeaux, but that's loosely where we find Crémants in general costing. This, on the other hand, flipping bargain, tenner. a brown one. Okay, so if we like this and it has a passing resemblance to decent quality entry-level champagne, it means we can drink like a king for the price of 2 pints of Guinness. Yes. Right, so let's have a try at this. Oh dear, splash. Not the first time. Okay. Oh, so clean, refreshing. It's almost bracing. It's almost like smelling the sort of like the sea. Splish splash. There's some minerality about it. Now, oh, nice and dry. It's got a nice tart crab apple bite at the end. This is made from all 4 varieties, really, in Burgundy. And there'll be a lot of people going, 4? I thought there were 2. Well, there were 2 really important ones. You've got Chardonnay for whites, you've got Pinot Noir for reds. But you mustn't forget the little Aligoté white. And Aligoté is mostly grown in the north. And Aligoté was always like the country plonk that used to add creme de cassis in to make a Kir. It was like the local plonky wine where Chardonnay was given more reverential treatment. But also there's another red variety as well, which is grown in the south of what is administratively part of Burgundy. But in terms of soul, it's very different. And that's Beaujolais. And that's Gamay. So we've got Chardonnay in here, we've got Gamay in here, we've got Aligoté, and we've got Pinot Noir. So it's a mix of all 4. And because it's made from 4 different varieties, it feels like there's more going on. You're getting more bang for your buck, really. It's like, do you just want a Jose Carreras or do you want the 3 tenors? You know, you're getting more. That's it. I can't stop drinking it. It's a Wednesday. Very, very pleasant indeed. So there you are. Crémant de Bourgogne from Les Caves des Hautes Côtes. Well done, Sue Daniels. She's the winemaker at M&S who made this. I think it's exceptionally nice for £10. Right, so, moving on. This is Langlois Brut. And I've been waiting to show the world this on my little channel because I think this is probably the best value sparkling wine for my money in France. This would cost about the same as the Bordeaux, the Crémant de Bordeaux, maybe slightly less, in fact. Langlois is made at Langlois Château. This wine, because it's Crème de Loire, is made largely from Chardonnay, Cabernet Franc, which is a red variety, which actually lends itself pretty well to making very good white wines. Remember, even though it's a red grape, if you squeeze the juice inside, it's clear. So, beautiful silvery white colour. There's also a big chunk of Chenin Blanc. And Chenin Blanc is the kind of age-worthy, serious white grape variety of the Loire. Still not nearly as popular as it ought to be, because it's really rather magical, and it can be drunk very, very young or very old. What's special about this is, you can go into, there's one very similar to this in Majestic, for example, called L'Extra, the Extra of Langlois. I'm not sure if it's in stock at the moment, but it's like £14 a bottle. And if you buy 6 or you buy 2, then it goes down to £11.99. And guess what? It's made by Bollinger. This is Bollinger owned. Not specifically the winemaker at Bollinger, but the business, Bollinger, thinks the wines here are good enough that they make sparkling wine there too. And I think that's a pretty bold statement. And the wines are always pristine. You can smell the Chenin straight away. There's a lovely honeyed, acacia honey overtone. There's a smell of apple skin, just very slightly, kind of like red apples, ripe apple. The shape, the way it's been put together, you can't feel any rivets or shut lines. It's just so smooth in the mouth. It's so, It has a steely acidity that creeps up on you, which makes you want to go in for another mouthful. Damn, that's good. Really good. £15. It's laughable that we drink champagne at all, to be honest. But there are some very good ones. I'm not knocking them all. There you go. So, Crémant de Bordeaux from Les Cordeliers in Saint-Emilion. Cave des Hautes Côtes, Crémant de Bourgogne from Marks and Spencer's. So, £15 to £20. This one, tenner, bang on the money. The last one, 15, maybe slightly less. Absolutely stunning. Enjoy the rest of the week. What's tomorrow?